CHOMPI is a hungry little guy that goes around munching and crunching all kinds of audio into otherworldly instruments. From rubber bands to glassware, pens and combs to zippers and old cassettes, sound is all around you, just waiting to be captured. Level 2 is all about sampling and altering sounds with CHOMPI. There are a number of ways we can bring sounds into CHOMPI, through the built-in mic, the auxiliary input, or from within CHOMPI itself through resampling. With the mode switch in the down position, we can select our source by holding the CHOMPI key and pressing one of these 3 keys. We're going to be sampling from the built-in microphone, so I'll press this key. And if you're plugging into speakers, our recommendation is to use the master output on the back of CHOMPI while sampling. This will avoid feedback. But if we want to capture a sound, the first thing we need to do is flip our mode switch to the up position. We call this CHOMPI mode. When you flip to this mode with headphones on, you'll immediately hear the sample source. Clicking the volume knob on the right switches the function of the knob from controlling the level coming out of CHOMPI to controlling the incoming signal level. We can adjust this level to accommodate whatever sounds we're capturing. I have this bell here, and if the signal is too loud, the LED indicator above CHOMPI will illuminate red. So let's adjust the input level so that it's a little less loud. Now we're ready to sample. The CHOMPI key is going to engage recording as soon as I press it and stop when I release it. So when you're ready, gently press down the CHOMPI key to start recording. If you didn't capture the sound the way you wanted to, don't worry. Just follow the steps and try again. But if you're happy with the sound you captured, flip the mode switch back to the jamming mode, and we'll go over the different ways that you can manipulate your samples. We now have a sample that we can play across the chromatic keyboard. We can mess with our newly sampled sound by using these knobs. This knob controls the speed and the pitch of our sample. Holding the shift key while turning the pitch knob makes pitch changes in steps of fifths and octaves. If we continue turning the pitch past the slowest speed, our sample will start to play in reverse. Changing the pitch of a sample is one of the most immediate ways to take your sound into new sonic territory. Holding shift and pressing the encoder will reset our sample to its original pitch. Now, if I press this encoder, it takes us to a second page to control the volume of our sample. Holding shift while turning the encoder now adjusts panning from left to right. I'll reset the volume by holding shift and pressing this encoder. Now, I'm noticing that my sample has a bit of silence before the sound plays, and there's a little bump at the end that I don't want. So, using these 2 knobs, I can adjust when the sample starts and ends. These knobs are also push encoders. If I press them, notice how the color of the LED changes? This second level lets me adjust the attack and release time for the sample. This knob controls the attack time, or the amount of time it takes for the sample to reach its full volume once I press the key. And this knob sets how long it takes the sample to get quiet after I've released the key, also known as the release time. A few small adjustments to these settings, and our sound becomes something completely new. Anytime we record a sample, it temporarily lives here in CHOMPI's buffer slot, and then gets replaced with something new each time we hit record. If we want to keep our sample, we need to save it into a preset slot. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about presets. While holding the CHOMPI key, we can select different samples by pressing any one of these 14 preset slots. When you select one of these, you'll be able to play that sample up and down the keyboard at different pitches. Notice that this key on the left is lit. This indicates that we're selecting chromatic presets from the jammy banks. This is cubby mode on the right, which contains one-shot samples. Each numbered slot plays a completely different sound. This type of preset is especially useful for rhythmic samples and loops. Each mode contains 3 banks of 14 presets, which you can cycle through by pressing the bank buttons indicated by different colored LEDs. This bank is empty, so none of the preset slots are lit up. So now, back to saving our sample. With the mode switch in the down position, press and hold the CHOMPI key and then tap the blue Save key, which will select the sample in CHOMPI's buffer to be saved to your desired preset location. I don't want to save over an existing preset, so I'm going to select an empty slot indicated by a blinking white LED. Commit the save by pressing the CHOMPI key once more. When the LED is done flashing, your sample is saved. We'll cover more ways to transform your sound as well as managing presets and CHOMPI's looper engine in future videos. But for now, go explore and have some fun.